We are about to start our fourth presentation for this afternoon. We have one more after this. Our format today is we will be hearing from UNC right away. We will open this up to questions from our judges up here on the stage, and then we'll open it up to questions from you in the audience. So we'll have about 15 or 20 minutes to do that, and then we'll take another quick break. First of all, thank you all for coming. Thank you all, gentlemen, for all the hard work you've done in your business plan. We've had a chance to review that. We're excited to hear your oral presentation today. Just for a little background, let me tell you about UNC right away. They are tired from the lurch and go of buses, the long walks across campus, the congested parking lots, student-filled and overflowing. Why all the hustle? Well, the constant shouldering of books and bags. Don't need that anymore with all the paper deadlines, the student loans, the caffeinated nights spent cramming for exams. Isn't there enough to worry about? Well, that's why these three gentlemen, Brad, Luis, and Phil's solution has come about. It's a vision that is really, I guess, best, as they describe it, as transportainment. Let me introduce you now to UNC right away, a team with an idea set to change the scene here on the campus of the University of Northern Colorado. Let's welcome these gentlemen and take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Phil Corning, and over here we have Brad Henderson, and this is Luis Munoz, and we are UNC Right Away. Life is like riding a bicycle. You won't fall off unless you stop pedaling. Since conceiving the idea in our Managing New Business Ventures class, where we competed against our fellow students' business plans, and when we created this business plan, we have not stopped pedaling. Today, I'll discuss with you how we plan to achieve our mission at UNC Right Away. UNC Right Away's mission is to become the students' preferred choice of transportation. We will accomplish this by addressing a need of a new, reliable form of transportation on the UNC campus. To help achieve our mission, UNC Right Away will be combining the aspects of a bike cab. This includes the green, fun, exciting, and also very unique features of it as well. That being said, I'd like to introduce to you our one-of-a-kind business model, Transportainment. Transportation coupled with entertainment. Our service will fill that unmet gap in transportation needs on the UNC campus. Students are currently not offered that quick and convenient mode of transportation. Our service will be the first in dealing with students and offering that transportation through the UNC campus, allowing it to be both quick and convenient. Today, I'll be discussing with you our unique solution to the lack of convenient transportation, as well as the market that we plan to capture for UNC Right Away. Luis will cover today's company's advantage and how we plan to capture our competitive advantage with that. And he'll also give you a closer look to the gentleman behind UNC Right Away. Brad will be discussing the financial aspects of our business, as well as why we believe we'd be a great business for you to invest in today. Then, back to me for discussing our groundbreaking futures of UNC Right Away. And finally, Brad will wrap us up. So, as mentioned, let's now talk about the market in which we will operate within. UNC Right Away is looking for students on the UNC campus that are looking for that quick and convenient way of getting around. With over 12,000 students on the UNC campus, we really want to capture that segment on the campus that have to get around within that 15-minute period between classes. The current means of transportation, such as taking the bus and walking, are not up to the challenge of providing that quick and convenient form of transportation. The bus system is inadequate for getting students around because it has that set schedule. It can take much longer to get around with all the recently added stops. And that's only if you can catch the bus in time. Walking is too slow for students to get around campus quickly, and may not be the best idea for those who have a heavy backpack or are wearing high heels or dress shoes. So this exposes opportunities we will plan to capture and utilize. For our market research, we surveyed students across campus and found that 21% have classes on both West and Central campus. This would be a perfect place for us to capture that market. And over 55% agree, saying that they would use us 2 or more times a month. Now, I'll hand it off to Luis, who will talk to you a little bit more how we plan to compete in the market.
Turn on the mic.
Thanks, Phil. As Phil mentioned, I'll be talking to you about our competitive advantage. Now, what makes us being so different from our competitors? What makes us distinctive or be different? we believe is that we understand the risk associated with our market. We understand that the adoption and acceptance play a significant portion of the risk equation for our prospective startup. Fighting for the students' discretionary income is an obstacle we must overcome. What makes it more valuable than a pop or a latte from Starbucks? Well, being the first and only transportation service to take students through campus instead of around campus is something that we believe that will allow students to sit back and enjoy a new perspective of the campus they rush through so often. We want to take students out of the confined walls of the bus or their cars and give them the opportunity to feel the wind in their hair, enhance their campus life, or increase their sociability. To us and the students is worth more than a $3 latte. We want to allow students to jump on our pedicabs as strangers and leave as friends. Now I want to talk to you about our management team and what each member brings to the table and how they would help us minimize risk. We, the management team, believe in the old saying. We'd rather have an A team with a B idea than vice versa. But in our case, we have an A team to drive and the ability to make this into an A idea. As we continue to grow as individuals, so does our ability to run a unique and successful business. Brad is a senior and will graduate in May with a management degree and 2 minors, communications and entrepreneurship. He is currently writing 2 other business plans, one for Cafe Panache for his internship, and the other for Sun Mountain Doors for his small business counseling class. This truly gives Brad the ability to understand what is needed and what makes a successful business plan, which is crucial to running a successful business and eliminating a lot of the risks associated with operations. Phil graduated in December from the Monfort College of Business, and he was hired by Teletech, a global customer service company. He is currently in charge of hiring people for Teletech. When our business franchises in year 2, Phil's newfound ability will help us hire the right people to run our company. I am a senior and will graduate in May, and with a management degree and a minor in communication studies. I have a great understanding of how pedicabs work and should be maintenance. This skill came from working at a bike store, putting bikes together and fixing them. This will help our company keep costs down when faced with them. I also work in the baking industry and have been for the last 6 years. As my responsibilities continue to grow as a personal banker, so does my understanding of small business financials. With our abilities and our continued market research, we will continue to innovate, find new ways of doing business, and stay ahead of our competitors. When faced with adversity, we will have the composure and the knowledge to make the right choices. Now I'm going to pass it over to Brad, who will present the financial aspects of the business plan.
Thanks, Luis. I'll be highlighting the financial aspects of our business plan today, including the initial capital required to launch, as well as the number of revenue drivers that we will employ. I'll then move on to discuss with you how UNC right away plans to expand off of the UNC campus. So as mentioned, $19,250 is the initial capital required to launch the business. $4,000 will be allocated to the purchase of each pedicab, totaling $13,500 to acquire our 3-cab fleet in year 1. To fund this operation, Luis, Phil, and myself have each pledged to invest $3,000 of our own capital into the business, seeking the remaining $10,250 from outside investors. I'd now like to discuss with you the number of revenue drivers that our company will employ. The first one being pedicab rides. Conservative estimates of sales revenue in year 1 reach roughly $40,000, operating during the Monday through Friday school week only. UNC right away has low fixed costs and even lower variable costs, allowing us the operating leverage to make more money on each additional sale. Advertising is also a revenue driver that we will employ. With four advertising spaces per pedicab, we expect per cab advertising revenue to reach $615 each month, which is an extremely competitive price in the greeley market. So I'd now like to discuss with you the plans for UNC right away, expanding off of the UNC campus. Franchising is a business model that we plan to explore when the brand is well established, operations are in place, and the sales and marketing strategies have been codified in a way that can attract potential investors. We believe that at this time that we can attract different owners at CU and CSU, which share a single brand name. We understand that you have a difficult decision today in choosing a winner for the event. However, we truly believe that UNC right away is the best option for you to invest in today. The first reason being our growing sizable market. The size of our student market is substantial and growing at 1.4% each year. Our market is also rejuvenated each year with a new freshman class. This class is statistically the largest of the 4 grades, leading our newest market entrants to be the largest group of students, who conveniently live on campus in the dormitories. Downtown is also emerging as a major attraction for UNC students. The more businesses in this area attracting UNC students results in more potential destinations for our campus to capitalize on. We worked hard to get as best an understanding as we could of our market traction. However, being a service, accurate projection data can be hard to come by, which is why we focus so much time on developing reality-based projections. Worst case, expected case, and best case scenario have all been explored. We developed our financials around a 5-day school week, ensuring that we could reach a profit operating during our core hours before we considered how expanding would affect our sales. Hours included in expansion include weekend sporting events and late-night travel, both of which have received considerable interest in from those students surveyed. Our developing franchising business model allows us to be extremely scalable. Our ability to take this business operation from a 3-man show to a larger, efficient, and even more profitable enterprise has been thoroughly analyzed by the team. First, our recurring costs are constantly decreasing. This allows our business to expand without enormous amounts of operational risk. Franchising allows us a controlled expansion, while also allowing us to continually develop our brand image. We've included an expansion from 3 to 10 pedicabs in our financials. Our ability to quickly expand and keep up with demand is demonstrated by our end-of-year cash balance, with $33,000 available for expanding at the end of year 1 alone. I'd now like to hand it off to Phil, who's going to cover with you our unique solution to the unmet transportation needs on the UNC campus.
Thanks, Brad. As mentioned, I'll be discussing the groundbreaking features of UNC Right-of-Way and how we wanted to form that reliable and also enhance that social experience for students on the UNC campus. For our market research, we went down to Denver to interview a few pedicabs. But what really got us going and frustrated was that it was so hard to find one in just the interview. So this fueled our decision to become a very reliable service for UNC Right-of-Way and make sure that we're there for the students. UNC Right-of-Way won't be a service by chance. It'll be a service you can rely on. We also plan to implement a hotline where a student can text and virtually hail a pedicab and be there waiting for them when they get out of class. As mentioned before, UNC Right-of-Way will be the only exclusive transportation system to go through the campus, not around it. As opposed to our services include the only chauffeur-driven and bicycle-powered taxi cab opposed to that of a bus system or walking. This would make us a very entertaining service to ever hit the UNC campus. Being the only transportation service to have an on-campus presence will also allow us to enhance that social experience for students on the UNC campus. A single student will pay $3 for a ride to any destination on campus. 2 riders brings the individual price down to $2.50, and 3 furthers it down to even $2. With that, we really want students to recruit more students to ride on cabs. This will help create a buzz around campus for our pedicab service. Also, we hope to introduce a new pickup line to the UNC campus. Want to grab a cab? But introducing young couples isn't the only plan we have for enhancing that social experience on the UNC campus. As Brad mentioned, in year 2, when we go to a franchising model, we'll be hiring students. This will allow UNC students to drive students around and have that flexible, well-paying, and exciting job. The best part is students don't have to leave campus for work. What a better way than driving friends around or making new friends in transit. Students serving students. This is something that will be our final peg in enhancing students' social experience on campus. Now, I'd like to hand it off to Brad, who will conclude today's presentation.
Thanks, Phil. We understand that it's harder to predict the success of a service than it is a tangible product. However, we truly believe that our team can build UNC Right-of-Way into a successful business venture. The very essence of leadership is that you have to have vision. Our vision is to take the campus of the University of Northern Colorado from the pedestrian and mundane to the exciting and new. Today, we've demonstrated to you our passion for this vision. Our team has balanced this passion with a solid understanding of reality, along with a "we will succeed" attitude. We hope that you can agree with the many UNC students and faculty alike that UNC Right-of-Way is a worthwhile service that will not only benefit UNC and Greeley as a whole, but has the potential to migrate throughout college campuses across Colorado. With that being said, we appreciate the opportunity to present our business plan to you today as we continue to pedal towards this year's first place seed money prize. And UNC, watch out on your left.
We've got a few questions. Do you mind if I start? I've got a couple questions on the regulatory approval side, because in reviewing your business plan, which, by the way, we talked about this earlier, this is probably one of the best, most well-written and researched plans that we have seen, so congratulations on that.
Thank you very much, Greg.
One of the things you mentioned in there, though, is getting approval from UNC to have these pedicabs on campus. I'm concerned about, are there any other regulatory, give me the status of that. What other regulatory approvals would you need to perhaps expand to other parts of town? Would they classify you as a cab? Are there any transportation things that you have to have around that? And following up on that, are there any kind of exclusive agreements you can negotiate so that UNC, you're it, Island Grove, you're it, Stampede, you're it, etc.?
We'll go ahead and answer that. As for licensing and operating on the UNC campus, we have actually already talked to Chief Longmont on campus, and he said we can operate on campus. And also, we've also talked to the city of Greeley, and we just need to pay a $12 fee for a licensed vehicle. The vehicle will just be a transportation vehicle, but a non-motorized transportation type of vehicle.
And exclusivities, can you?
Exclusivities, yes. We did talk to the UC, and with signing a contract with them, we would be the exclusive service to be on the UC campus.
Great. So you would protect that territory?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can actually expand on that a little too. We had talked to a few people here at the UC, and one idea that they had for us was to be able, as a university service, to sell tickets through the ticket offices. And we thought of a couple unique ideas. We could have a punch card that you could buy from the UC office, buy 9, get 1 free, and we would be the only transportation service on the UNC campus, and it would be a UNC service. So.
Thank you. So,
you guys did a great job on the materials, your presentation, very, very, very good job. The questions I have, so financially, I look at this in 3 years, you have a net income of what, close to $100,000. You're not taking paychecks, it looks like, for the next 3 years, and you're working 8 hours a day. How are you guys going to live?
In our financials, we've actually, rather than take a payroll tax, we'd be paying ourselves through dividends. In the first year, we've allowed ourselves $15,000 of dividends, which is $5,000 for each of us in the whole year, which we understand is a little much to live off of. We'd be cutting it close, but we all do hold jobs currently, and hopefully we're going to have enough money saved up to keep that going. But we did want to set aside that $33,000 at the end of the year for expansion. And then as we continue to grow, we can understand exactly how much we can pay ourselves before operating within the business.
So I guess the follow-on question to that is, how do you scale it to the point where it becomes financially interesting to you, and then also financially interesting to somebody in an investment perspective? Because it looks kind of small. Like maybe I could go get a savings account and get a return. So just how do you guys plan to do that? The performance don't really show me that, but maybe there's a bigger idea there.
Sure. In developing the franchise aspect of the business model, we would actually be able to step back from operating the pedicabs and focus on operating the franchise behind the scenes. And as I mentioned, in making that expansion and making the business more scalable, we do have a considerable amount set aside for quickly expanding to keep up with demand. I believe that at the end of year 3, we have upwards of $90,000 of cash just sitting in the bank, ready to be put towards expanding. So whatever aspects of that aren't put towards expanding would be scalable for us and continue to grow this throughout college campuses.
So that said, what does 5 years from now look like? How big is this business in 5 years with franchise?
Well, the nice part about franchising is it's going to give us a brand image, one brand image throughout Colorado. So in 5 years, like Brad said, in 3 years, we see ourselves being in CU, CSU, maybe being downtown Denver. I know the Pedicab's already down there, but I don't think they have a presence into the Metro campus downtown. So that's kind of where we see our Pedicab service growing.
And following that, just on that note of franchising, why not just franchise this across the country? Are there any other competitors doing this in any other campus that you know?
From the research that we did, there is a few other Pedicab services already located on campuses. From the few that I remember off the top of my head, Oregon State was one of them.
Okay.
UNC was one of them.
There's a lot of potential, so
and
grab
Austin,
it while you can.
Yeah, Austin, Texas was the other one that had come out of mind from the research that we did. So the potential is already out there. I mean, research shows that it's working. These campuses already have services on there, which is kind of drives our field more towards driving towards that.
I just had to add on to that. So in your business plan, the thing I would recommend is that you look at that aspect and incorporate it in it, because it's pretty small right here. In fact, I don't know that you even need an investment. You could probably get a bank loan. You're bankers, right? To go get that done. And then my last question is, the award here is bigger than what you're asked. So if we give you more money through this process, what does this business look like with that incremental cash?
Well, having that extra cash would allow us to purchase more pedicabs, be able to keep up with demand. The first year, as Brad said, we would start off with 3 pedicabs. I know that's not a lot, but what that allows us to do is having proof of concept, make sure that it works. The nice thing about having that proof of concept also is when we franchise in year 2, we want to make sure that we're going to be able to pay those students and have an income for ourselves and make money.
With the prize money today, as I mentioned, the initial capital required to launch is $19,250, and we've each pledged to invest $3,000 of our own money. With the award money today, that would allow us to not have as much skin in the game as we're planning on having now, and it would allow us to focus more on operating the business, as well as with the $5,000 we plan to make all year, that $3,000 could take us a long way.
And you guys plan to quit your day jobs and do this full time? Or will you keep your jobs?
We've all considered that. We really think that this would be a fun job, and in our financials, we were very conservative with our sales, so it was just Monday through Friday, but there would be that potential to increase our sales revenue really exponentially with the late night travel and the weekend travel. In our surveys, designated drivers from the bars was the biggest response that we got back, so that would allow us to hopefully earn enough money to quit our day jobs and focus on the UNC right away.
I'd actually like to announce that. I mean, with currently having a day job, I do work full 8 hours every day. But with that, we also do have some plans to see maybe bring on someone else during the day, and then having like me operate the night kind of shifts where we'll have that DD or other kind of weekend kind of cool things. We'll go down to Poudre River and just kind of ride around there too for other kinds of things.
And would you would hire employees, I assume, to ride these? You mentioned franchising, but would you also hire employees?
We'll just keep strictly to the franchising,
Okay.
that kind of model. So
Okay. And how big, really, reasonably, can this get on UNC campus alone? I think that's what Brad is asking too. I know the one in Fort Collins failed, and I know others have failed just because there's not that dense population. And really, I mean, your business plan is beautiful, but that's my biggest concern, is the density of population and the novelty wearing off. And it's counter to the whole health and fitness, wellness thing. You're not walking, you're getting around.
Definitely a good question. We were wondering with the 12,000 students on campus, how we could really keep the buzz going and keep students interested. And we thought we would like to see how many students are traveling from one end of the campus to another. And so the 3 of us we parked across the street at the UC and watched students travel across 11th Ave and 21st Street, that intersection there. In a 15-minute passing period, we witnessed upwards of 375 students cross the street, which showed us that there really is a huge market traveling across this campus, and we thought if we could we're looking at 60 rides per day to break even. And we thought with 377 students in one passing period, there really is such a concentration of students looking for a transportation service.
And actually, I'd like to add on to that.
What's the distance between the central campus and the east, whatever the other campus is you mentioned?
It's about a mile across,
Okay,
but that takes a little over 15 minutes when you're walking.
yeah, okay.
And also expanding on your question, I mean, you can almost imagine yourself being a student on the UNC campus, where you'd be from Candelaria Hall, which is one of the farthest back halls on West Campus, having to go all the way to Fraser or Kevner, which is on the exact opposite side of campus. That takes at least 15 minutes to get across. And if it's a hot summer day, you're going to be riding, sweaty because you're trying to run to class to get on time. And also, it's just, you want to be feeling relaxed and refreshed when you want to get there. And that's the service we can provide for that.
I bet those 8 a.m. classes will be popular too, for people who want to sleep.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very good. Let's open it up to some questions in the audience. If you have a question, please raise your hand real high so we can get you. I'll come in the back. As I'm walking back here, you mentioned this. Well, first of all, say your tagline. What is your tagline there? Because I kind of like that.
Get your bare butt on our cat.
Okay, there you go. Where's the entertainment portion of this? I mean, I know there's the novelty factor of getting a pedicab, but is there...
Do we sing? we could sing. And we thought we would be allowed students who typically rush through campus with their backpacks to sit back and enjoy the campus and really see the campus through a new lens. And of course, we're all a couple of crazy guys. Our friends in the audience know we like to consider ourselves pretty entertaining drivers for the students on board.
Very impressive, you guys. So I have a couple questions that sort of tie in to each other. It's just going to be the three of you in the beginning, and you're all going to be operating the bikes. And you said an average of 60 rides a day. And 4 people can fit in one of these cabs?
3.
3. Have you tried a cab yet? Like, have you towed? How is it towing 3 people up the hill? If you have 3 people who are 100 pounds, that's 300 pounds. 60 rides a day, that's 20 for you each.
It's a lot of riding. Definitely understand that. It was pretty funny when we first got on a cab. The cabs are so different. They don't lean like your typical bike. And sorry to throw you under the bus, Phil, but Phil had a really hard time with that. It was pretty goofy to watch. But after a while, we did get used to it. And some pictures you can see here on our, actually that's on our poster board on the other side of this, pardon me. But we transport each other around the parking lot of our supplier's warehouse. And it's actually not that bad. It's a 21-speed bike. It's got hydraulic and all sorts of crazy stuff, and there's actually electrically assisted pedicabs as well. So the uphill factor, while it would sure make us get a little bit toned legs,
Right.
it's doable for
I was
sure.
just thinking that'd be the hardest thing about this campus is because it's very much UC's on the top of a hill, so going down would be...
We'll get you there faster.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. I can't remember the rest of my questions, but...
Thanks.
Any other questions around here? Oh, yes.
Good job again, guys. When this thing does start to grow, what happens when you have a whole bunch of bikes flying down all these paths with the walkers?
Well, the nice thing about getting that $12, I guess, what's the word?
Vehicle for hire license.
Vehicle for our license will allow us to operate on the streets. And actually, the city really will like that more than actually being on the streets itself, on the sidewalks.
So what are your insurance costs going to look like?
And then actually another way of avoiding passengers as we're flying down the pathways. We'll be implementing that quite a bit, but our insurance costs are $550 a year per pedicab, and that's full coverage. Both parents are here, they're in the insurance industry, and that was one thing they suggested, is make sure you're covered on all fronts on insurance, because that'll turn around and bite you in your bare butt.
Any other questions? Yes, right over here.
I'm not sure if I may have missed this, but how do you account for the winter months when it's super icy? Like, what do you do with that?
Wear more clothes.
That was actually a question we asked when we interviewed pedicab drivers downtown. We said, how do you combat the weather? Wear more clothes, but our Main Street Pedicab, that's our distributor for the, or supplier, excuse me, for the pedicabs. They offer studded tires. And I think Luis might know a little bit more about that with his bike experience, but there's actually chains for your bicycle tires, just like there are for your car tires. So
Also, I can expand on that.
Also, to go further into your question, how we would protect the customers running in the back as far as the cold day, or when they're actually the pedicab, the canopy actually has something that hangs over them, so it actually protects the rider who's riding in the back, either if there's a strong wind or it's pretty cold. So as far as the cold weather, from the survey that we did and the pedicab drivers that we interviewed downtown, they said it hasn't been an issue down there, and we don't expect it to be an issue up here, especially because UNC campus, from the information that we got there, they actually plow streets and the sidewalks at 5 o'clock in the morning. So if there's ever snow, that we know by the time we operate in the morning, those sidewalks are going to be taken care of.
Good. Any other last questions before we move on here?
I guess a quick question, I can stand up. So, you guys talked about expanding maybe to the weekends and possibly the bar scene, which is what students are interested in. Let's say that you guys have to take someone from downtown all the way up to Evans or something like that to the Grove, which is where a lot of students live. You guys mentioned there's only going to be a few petty cabs at the start. How are you going to deal with the demand of having to go all the way up there and then come back for students that are waiting, as well as you guys are going to be going a lot further? You're going to charge more, or how are you going to deal with that?
That's certainly something we considered. Right now, our pricing structure is, as an individual student, you're able to transfer anywhere on the UNC campus for $3. Implementing our expanding hours off of campus would be maybe a per block sort of fare, so it's $3 on campus, and then each block after that is a X dollars. But as far as taking someone from downtown to the Grove, that's a pretty long distance. When we've kind of established we need to have some sort of off-campus boundaries to where this is as far as we can take you, and mainly getting people back onto campus and into the campus surrounding area is our main focus.
To add on to the question, the reason we don't want to travel that far also is for the protection of our drivers. The further you drive, you're also not putting the driver in risk, but also the people that are traveling in the pedicab. So we want to stay pretty close to campus, hopefully travel up 10th Ave and 9th Ave for those people that are going to be downtown, and be able to bring them back into campus area and dorms.
Very good. Let's give them another round of applause. We're going to take a 13-minute break, and we'll come back for our final presentation right after 3 o'clock.